On today's episode of Keeping It Real, Cam Marston tries to find a silver lining in all of the destruction and hardship that hurricane season brings to his Gulf Coast community neighbors.
Living on the Gulf Coast, hurricane season brings an odd cocktail of emotions. The strange feelings start stirring in July. They begin percolating in August, and by September, the peak of the hurricane season, they're raging. It's a mixture of hope, of dread, and of ethical confusion. When hurricanes in the Gulf, it's all but certain it will make landfall somewhere. All Gulf hurricanes are moving towards land, and weather conditions are usually right for the storms to remain at their same intensity, if not increase. I can't recall a hurricane that simply blew itself out in the Gulf. It's when those storms are on the move across the Gulf, and I'm in the cone of uncertainty, that the ethical confusion begins. Now, it's obvious to say that I don't want a hurricane to hit me, my home, or my town. I've been through more than a few, and the storm's destruction and the hardship after the storm is not easy to bear. At the same time, I feel wrong knowing that if my wish were to come true, one of my Gulf Coast neighbors will face the destruction I wish to avoid. How do I rectify this dissonance? During the late summer, family events and church meetings and large gatherings around meals typically include a prayer in which part of the prayer asks for protection from storms, hurricanes, and other natural disasters. The prayer doesn't ask that only this group or only this town be protected, but that everyone's protected. However, every year some part of the Gulf Coast will feel like their prayers were ignored and they'll get slammed. And as I write this, people are posting stories on social media from South Louisiana and New Orleans, which was just hit hard by Hurricane Ida. The pictures and videos tell the story of lots of destruction and lots of hardship ahead. But the posts getting the most likes and the most shares and the most comments are the stories of generosity and of bravery and of receiving unexpected help. The help's being given from one struggling neighbor to another, by one struggling community to another, and by one struggling family to another. And though it's a very high price to pay, perhaps the best thing that can come out of such extraordinary destruction is the reminder that even though there's a ton of anger and division in our nation these days, there's also an abundance of kindness and of generosity that surfaces when people like you and me are suffering. When we feel like no one cares and division and anger rule the day, a neighbor shows up and offers their help. School children in cities hundreds of miles away collect and deliver food unasked. Hurricanes are awful, but maybe they serve to remind us that bad things do happen to good people, and then good people show up to help after those bad things have happened. I'm Cam Marston, and I'm just trying to keep it real.
To hear more commentaries, search for Keeping It Real with Cam Marston on your favorite podcast app, or follow Cam Marston on social media.